fly ball. Deep right field. Diaz to the wall. He leaps up, and it is gone. And there's a long drive, deep right field. It is gone to Souvenir City. From Progressive Field in downtown Cleveland, Ohio, it's the nightcap in our day-night doubleheader between the Cleveland Indians and the Chicago White Sox. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning and the skipper Mike Hargrove. The Indians coming off a win in Game 1, and in that ball game is Drupal Cabrera with another solid performance. Now, he did leave the game with a mid-back strain. That's what they're calling the injury to Cabrera. He doesn't think it's that serious. He feels like he'll be back in there maybe in a couple of days, was feeling much better after the ball game. But, Mike, as Drubal's played practically every day all season long, he's put up great numbers. What do you think he's meant overall to this ball club?
No, he's been the one big consistent part of the ball club, both offensively and defensively. As a manager and as a teammate, you want players that you know what you can expect from that night, and as Drupal has been that four-man actor in the Indians and has had a tremendous season, all-star season, and I hate to think where we would be without him.
No question about that. Of course, the Indians will turn to another youngster on the mound this evening. Zach McAllister will get the start against Dylan Axelrod of Chicago.
Well, in today's pitching matchup, brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. He'll be matched up against another rookie, Dylan Axelrod, who is making his second start. Not a bad start in his first start against the Tigers. 6 hits in 6 innings and a couple earned runs. He did not get a decision. Now, Zach McAllister, on the other hand, will be making his third start. He is 0-1 this year. He hasn't pitched very well since being up here, but he's going to get another opportunity against the Sox. He's given up a lot of hits. He's walked 5 guys in his 12 innings, so he's got to go out there, continue to pound the strike zone, throw strikes. We'll see if the Indians can get him his first win.
For the most part, the White Sox have had the Indians' number this year in the season series, but the Tribe with the chance to sweep this day-night doubleheader, and we've got all the action coming up next right here on Sports Time Ohio. And we're back here at Progressive Field for Game 2 in our day-night doubleheader between the Indians and the Chicago White Sox. Tribe has taken the field behind Zach McAllister, and that'll give us a chance to look at Ozzie Guillen's starting lineup for Chicago. Juan Pierre in the leadoff spot, then Alexei Ramirez batting second. Paul Konerko will hit third. Adam Dunn moves into the cleanup spot for the nightcap. He had 2 doubles this afternoon. Diane Viciedo batting fifth. Alejandro Diaz batting sixth. Then it's Omar Vizquel, Tyler Flowers, and Gordon Beckham.
Zach McAllister will be making his third start this year. Zach looking for win number 1. He has pitched 7 1/3 innings, 14 hits and 5 walks, so he has had a lot of base runners. His problem as well has been from the stretch that he has struggled, but he's going to be looking for his first win tonight against the White Sox. We'll check it out and see if he can get it. Have a nice 1, 2, 3 quick first inning. Let's take a look at the Indians defense, brought to you by Pat O'Brien Chevrolet. Saluting the men and women defending our country and watching on the Armed Forces Network. Duncan, Sizemore, Carrera in the outfield. Hanahan, Donald, Valbuena, Laporte on the infield. Santana behind the plate. Almost a whole new team out there in game number 2.
The umpires for this evening's game, Tim Cheetah will call the balls and strikes. Bill Wilkie is at first. David Rackley at second. Marty Foster down at third. Juan Pierre steps in, ready to get us underway. Pierre went 0 for 4 this afternoon. McAllister delivers, and a first pitch strike. 68 degrees, our game time temperature, under clear skies in downtown Cleveland. No balls, 2 strikes. McAllister delivers. And another foul ball by Pierre.
It's an emergency swing right there. A little cutter looked like coming in on his hands. And this guy's he is the toughest guy to strike out in the league. And right there, look at, he's just protecting to stay alive. He didn't try to do anything but foul that pitch off.
And the 1-2. Spoils it outside. Stays on ball and 2 strikes.
Zach 12-3 this year down in Columbus with a .332 earned run average.
Slowly bounced to second. Valbuena has to hurry, and the throw is offline, and I don't think it would have mattered. Pierre beats it out for an infield hit.
Well, when you're laying back on a ball like that with a guy that can run, you have got it. It's an error. Okay, they give him an error for laying back on it. You have got to go in there and be aggressive and challenge him, especially with the guy who can run. You have to know who's running.
Yeah, well, that you go along, and it's your preparation mentally is as important as your preparation, physically, and you got to know that Pierre runs, and you get caught trying to play the big hop, and Valbuena certainly got caught that time. It was not the way you want to play that ball.
Well, they've changed it to a base hit, which is what I thought. You can't give somebody an error just because they waited back on the ball. His throw was definitely poor, but by that time, Mike, because he waited back on it, he didn't have a chance to get him anyway.
Well, yeah, he had to hurry his throw. He had no chance, even had it been a good throw, obviously. But once he laid back on it, he gets that little tricky hop right there, and then he knows he's really got to get rid of it. It was a poor play.
Alexei Ramirez 1 for 3 this afternoon. Spins out of the way of a fastball up and in. He got hit on that left arm by Fausto Carmona this afternoon, and you could tell immediately when he got hit by that pitch, he flipped the bat down. He's got a little soreness in there because I'm sure it's not the first time he's been hit. You see he's got the body armor on.
Well, he's a guy that stands close to the plate, and he's up in the batter's box. And that ball of that two-seamer from Fausto, he had no chance to get out of the way of.
Runner goes, swing and a miss, throw down, good throw, and they got him. Nicely done by Carlos Santana. That time the footwork was very good, and he was able to throw out the speedy Pierre.
Boy, he put together a very nice throw. Out of there, got rid of it in a hurry, and I mean that ball was down. A lot of times his throws are up and away from the second baseman. That was perfect.
That time the footwork was very good. Meanwhile, Ramirez grounds to third. Jack Hanahan back in action. Throws him out. Jack came in as a defensive replacement late in game 1 of our day-night doubleheader and gets the start here in game 2. The injury report brought to you by Elk & Elk Serious Lawyers. For serious injuries, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. For Chicago, Brent Lillibridge on the 15-day DL. So is Ramon Castro. Tony Pena shut down on the 60-day disabled list. Lillibridge, you may remember, that's just when we were in Chicago the last time, got hit by a pitch and suffered the broken hand. Paul Konerko was 0 for 3 this afternoon. And a strike called. It's quickly 0-2. Now McAllister throwing a lot of strikes here at the outset. 10 out of his 12 pitches have been strikes. A little bit low. Yeah, we've talked about it before. He's had quite a career just against the Indians alone.
You know, he really has. Here's 5 or 6 years ago, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, White Sox were trying to give him away. I think they're probably glad they hadn't done it.
I think they made a good choice to keep him. McAllister gets it done. Indians coming to bat. First here at Progressive Field, and the Indians starting lineup is brought to you by Progressive Insurance, proud to be the official auto insurance provider of the Cleveland Indians. Ezekiel Carrera leading it off, then it's Jason Donald, followed by Carlos Santana, Jim Thome, Shelley Duncan, and Grady Sizemore in the middle. Matt Laporta, Jack Hanahan, and Luis Valbuena round it out.
24-year-old Dylan Axelrod makes the start for the White Sox. His second start this year at the major league level. He started the year in Double-A Birmingham, worked his way up to Triple-A Charlotte, and actually put together some pretty good numbers. So he's getting a look-see here at the major league level.
Carrera looks at a ball up high. And a strike call to even the count. That's up high. Axelrod, I guess you would have to classify as a rarity these days. He's barely 6 feet tall. They list him at 6 feet. And his fastball anywhere 88 to 90. Popped up foul territory. Konerko and Beckham both give it a look but can't get to it. And nowadays, Mike, when it comes to pitchers, teams want big, tall, especially if they're right-handed, big, tall guys that can, what they say, leverage the ball downhill.
Well, they're looking for big body guys, and forever, right-hand pitchers under 6 foot have been kind of a rarity, and you don't give them a lot of attention. In watching him throw, it doesn't look like he has a whole lot of deception. You see his ball, Archie, pretty much all the way, and
unless he has one outstanding pitch that we haven't seen.
Guys like that are comfortable to hit off of. Now, he may do well, but but he lays the ball out. You see the ball the whole way.
That was a changeup, by the way, fouled off.
Fastball, slider, change is the rundown I have for Axelrod.
Well, the thing of it is, when you're his size and you're throwing his speed, you better have impeccable control.
Skied into shallow right. Viciedo coming in. The right fielder is there, and that's out number 1.
Take a look at the Home Depot White Sox defense for behind Axelrod this evening. It looks like this from left to right. It's Pierre, Diaza, and Viciedo. And at third is Omar Vizquel. Ramirez at short, Beckham at second, Konerko is at first, Flowers behind the plate. More savings, more doing. That's the power of Home Depot.
There's a slider, and he got Jason Donald to go chase after it.
Now that's a situation, if you've never faced this guy before, you would want to take that pitch because it's a breaking ball, first pitch in the at bat.
I've always held to the idea that you got, if you haven't ever seen the guy before, you've got to take at least one pitch, because if you hit that first pitch, your next at bat, it's like you haven't ever seen him before again. So
right.
I mean, you're not doing yourself any favors by swinging at the first pitch off a guy you've never seen before, because everybody's pitches, they do different things. They move different directions, different sharpness.
Well, and plus you want to see where his arm slot's coming from for one pitch. And just to get a read of whatever pitch you're seeing, whether it's a breaking ball, changeup, fastball.
Exactly.
Missed down low with it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Most hitters are, obviously the deeper in the count you get, the better hitter you are, and the more successful you'll be, because you're able to see more pitches and see what they do and see what he throws in certain situations. And you're just really doing yourself a terrible disservice, I think, by going up there, and especially off a guy you've never seen before, swinging at the first pitch, because then you've got no idea.
Well, like you say, it helps you down the road. If you can see now you've got a 5-6 pitch at bat here the first time up, you have a pretty good idea of everything he's going to throw the second time up.
Right back up the middle, Jason Donald with a base hit.
He ends up hitting the pitch he was looking for on the first pitch.
Exactly.
On the 3-2 pitch.
If you're patient as a hitter, if you're patient, you'll get 2 mistakes in an at-bat. You'll get 2 mistakes. Now, you have to do something with those mistakes, but there's a mistake right there. I mean, he was backed into having to throw an 89-mile-an-hour fastball right down the pipe.
4-seamer. And that's what you do with it. There you go.
It's amazing how smart we are.
Well, Donald's aboard with 1 out for Carlos Santana, who was 0 for 3 this afternoon. And of late, that's been a rarity for Santana to be so quiet in a game. He came into this afternoon's contest with an RBI in 4 straight games.
He's been swinging it very well. I mean, his approach, he's had some swings where he's going the other way. The right-handed swing of the double down the line the other day and yesterday, and he hit the home run, and he's had the power stroke going. And when he is putting a good swing on the baseball, his power will come. The minute he starts trying to hit home runs like a lot of hitters, the swing gets longer, the strikeouts start piling up.
I know just in observing the games, I've watched a lot of games. Obviously, I haven't been with you guys very often. I'm sure you're both very thankful for that. But,
we are.
But, it's real obvious that Bruce Fields has gotten him and got him to cut his swing down and to have more control in his swing. And you're right, you're not going to lose power by cutting your swing down. That doesn't mean you don't swing any quicker. It just means you don't swing wild at it, and makes a difference.
I think he barrels the ball up better than anybody else on this team. Every time he gets up there, he can get the barrel of the bat on the ball. It's just a matter of shortening it up. We were in Texas the one time, and he lined the ball off his leg, and he went down in a heap, and he was down for a while. And then he ended up hitting a double in the at-bat, and then later in the game hit a home run because he couldn't do much with that front leg, get too aggressive.
Exactly.
So he had to stay very soft and slow with it, and it ended up helping him in his at-bats.
Now, there's something you don't see every day. Dylan Axelrod turned and threw to first while Jason Donald was standing on the bag.
Well, he just takes for granted he's leading off.
He's a pitcher.
3-2 runner goes, and it's ball 4. A hit and a walk with 1 out here in the first.
Well, and here's another thing that doesn't surprise you. Santana now with 93 walks on the year. All right, the next closest guy to him is Cabrera with 44. That's how patient he's been this year. I mean, he's been so good for a young hitter, he's only going to get better. After Cabrera's 44, Shu and Hanahan had 36, and that's 20% of the team's walks.
You get 92 walks in a season, you have to work at it.
Yes, you do.
And it means you're patient, you're looking for a good pitch to hit. Where he's gotten in trouble, especially early, like you said, it looked like he was trying to hit every pitch out of the ballpark. And you just, you're going to end up hitting 230. Doing it that way.
Well, he will get better. I mean, day in and day out. I don't look at the average for Carlos because I know he's going to be much better than that down the road.
Well, he's a smart kid, and smart people usually find a way to succeed.
Jim Thome with a big chopper to first. Konerko goes to second. There's one. The relay throw is in time, an inning-ending double play. So we are scoreless after one here at Progressive Field. To you by McDonald's. The Mango Pineapple Real Fruit Smoothie has arrived. By your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. And by AT&T. Oh, beautiful sunset over Lake Erie. Back here at Progressive Field, no score, second inning. Adam Dunn, Diane Viciedo, and Alejandro Diaz will come to the plate here for Chicago. Zach McAllister delivers ball one to Adam Dunn. He went 2 for 4 with a couple of doubles this afternoon.
Both of them going the other way, right down the third baseline, trying to stay on the baseball.
Would you have thought after the opening series of the season that the series that this guy had, that he'd be hitting 168 with 11 games left in this year?
No way. I don't think anybody anywhere thought that.
To your point, he's hit 341 against the Indians this year. 168 for the year. Well, he's hit 146 against everybody else, so he's had a lot of his hits. 15 of his 66 hits have come against the Tribe. That'll bring up Diane Viciedo.
So you're saying the Indians shouldn't trade for him?
Well, he's definitely done most of his damage against the Indians. I think the White Sox had a little bit more in mind, though, when they signed him to that contract.
I would think so.
McAllister delivers. It's a strike to even the count at 1-1. Zach McAllister was the player to be named later in the Austin Kearns trade a year ago. He came from the Yankees on August the 20th to complete that trade. Fastball took off on him. And the count is 2-2. Line drive right field, right at Carrera, and that is out number 2. Let's check in for the first time tonight with our Katie Witham.
Well, Matt, in between games today, Josh Tomlin got out on the mound and threw a simulated 2-inning game off the mound. He said he felt really good. He threw his fastball, cutter, changeup, got into a couple 2-3 counts, but overall very happy with his command. Tim Belcher, pitching coach, told me he was as sharp as he's seen Tomlin before he got hurt. The key now is to see how he feels tomorrow, but look for him to start in one of those games on Saturday, guys.
All right, thanks, Katie.
I hope so. I love the way he pitches.
Oh, yeah.
You have to. I mean, he goes out there and he throws nothing but strikes and says, "Let's go."
Changes speeds, changes elevations. Right. He's in and out. He's a pitcher. He really is. And it's fun to watch him.
You talk about guys 6 foot or maybe a little under, not a big guy, not overpowering. He pitches.
He does pitch. Locates all his pitches well, and I mean, it epitomizes being a pitcher. I mean, the thing of it is that you know you're going to get his best that he's got that day. That's what I like about him is he's always zeroed in. He's a tremendous competitor.
He knows that if he doesn't hit his location, they got a chance of hitting it out of the ballpark. He gave up some home runs, but most of them this year were solo shots. And he had that string of, 39 consecutive starts to start a career of 5 innings or more.
That's impressive.
Yes, it really is.
Line drive to short, and it's caught by Jason Donald. And the White Sox go 1-2-3. So a couple of wild outs. But Zach McAllister is scoreless through 2. And we welcome you back into Progressive Field, bottom of the second inning. No score. Shelley Duncan, Grady Sizemore, and Matt Laporta due up for the Tribe. In there for a strike to Duncan. Quickly, it's 0-2. And that's high and foul out of play.
Thought he'd try and sneak that 0-2 fastball by him, but it doesn't work. Shelley's always ready for that fastball.
I think Shelley needs to be commended for quietly putting together a good season.
Yes,
he's got 195 at bats coming in to this at bat right here. Been up and down a couple, 3 times,
4 times,
and just absolutely stays focused and has done his job whenever he's been asked to. I think that's you really have to respect a guy like that.
Well, I think he's made himself pretty sure that he's going to be on this ball club next year as a guy that can come off the bench. He was the best pinch hitter for Maniac last year and this year, even though they sent him down a couple of times. He's been the best guy coming off the bench when you talk about being prepared and ready to do a job.
Like he broke his bat, it's out of play again.
Yeah, good thing about a player like that's in the situation that Shelley's been in this year and really last year is other people in baseball see that too.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work out here, and hopefully it does. If it doesn't work out here, then he'll have a job with somebody else in the big leagues, which is good. I mean, you want everybody to be able to have that opportunity. I just hope it's here because I think he brings a lot to this ball club, both in the clubhouse and on the field.
Right. Did you happen to watch that game when we were on the road in Texas where he had those 3 consecutive hitters where he made 3 catches against the wall?
Another high drive, but this is foul again.
Was that when he fell down and said, wow?
Yeah, it was beautiful. I mean, three hitters in a row. I mean, that was the best defensive stand. That was like a goal line stand. There's one. That was the first one. He gets out there. There it is. Whoa. Look at that.
And that's genuine. That really is genuine.
Exactly. It really is. Look at that. I mean, that was priceless. He can't believe it.
Now the 1-2 down in the dirt.
He's a peach.
Well, he goes out there and he leaves it on the field. That's why you got to love it.
Apple didn't fall too far from the tree.
No, it did not.
Hair's a little shorter.
Well, it's true. He's not wearing bell bottoms either.
And the 2-2 to Shelley. Back out of play. Already an 8-pitch at bat for Shelley Duncan.
Well, and you make him work, especially when you're down in the count 0-2 like he was.
Tough to get a fastball by Shelley.
He may go through a number of bats, but he's not going to let it. He won't. He'll swing at it.
I guarantee he's got enough at bats to get through this at bat.
Yeah. Well, remember the game against Justin Verlander where he took him deep twice, and Verlander the second time said, "You're not going to hit a fastball off me again." And I mean, he jumped on it.
97 miles an hour up in your about the top of your letters.
He got him to chase. And that's the first strikeout for Axelrod. 1 down here in the second. And our trivia question brought to you by AT&T, who holds the Major League record for most home runs in a final season. And we'll have the answer coming up later in the game. I'm going to bring up Grady Sizemore.
How can you answer a trivia question you can't even understand what they're asking?
That's what I want to know. It could be anybody. It could be a guy that maybe played 1 year and had a good year.
Now go ahead and talk to the truck and find out the answer.
No, I'm not going to talk to him. I'm mad at the truck. Mad at the truck. I'm not talking to him today. They're overworked. Because they put that question up there. I know they don't know what they're doing today.
Quickly, 0-2 the count on Grady Sizemore. Mentioned earlier, Dylan Axelrod is a bit of a rarity in that he's undersized by today's standards for a right-handed starter. Mike, it's also interesting in that he began his career as a relief pitcher. When he was originally drafted by the Padres back in 2007, he was a 30th round pick. And he was used mostly as a relief pitcher at the University of California, Irvine. And this is his 103rd professional game
and just his 46th pro start. And most of those starts have come in the last 2 years. He strikes out Sizemore, back-to-back Ks here in the second. Normally you see guys transition from starter to bullpen. Not as common to see a guy go the other way.
Well, you're right. He had to be doing something right. Strike thrower, and may have been used in long relief. And they thought, this guy's a 30th round pick. Let's see what he can do as a starter. And took the ball and took off with it. So I'd say a lot of things can go into that decision. But he obviously has done something right and is pitching here.
Well, it might have happened, and this has happened probably for a small number of players. He was basically just about done with his baseball career. The Padres had given up on him. He went to the Frontier League in 2009, and in 8 starts and 14 relief appearances, he had a 2.20 ERA, and he struck out almost a batter per inning. And the White Sox said, "Hey, you know what? Let's give this guy a look."
Exactly. There's never one set path to get to where you want to go. Obviously, I know that the independent leagues are more scouted or more heavily scouted than they were,
Sure.
when they first started. The majority of people taken out of those independent leagues are pitchers, and here's a guy that was a reliever with the Padres throughout the minor leagues. Didn't work. He went to the Frontier League, and they gave him the ball to start, and he showed that he could do that and have some durability, and bam, here he in the big leagues.
1, 2, 3 go the Indians. No score through 2. Back here, top of the third. Want to remind you to stay tuned later in the game to see our Miller taste greatness moment. Scoreless game, third inning, and Omar Vizquel leading off here for the White Sox. And a line drive, base hit into right field. Carrera trying to cut it off. He will, but Omar's going to turn and dig for second. The throw, not in time. Omar Vizquel with a leadoff double here in the third inning.
Mike, can you believe he's still playing?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Of all the people that I can. Omar's never lost his edge. I mean, he still has that competitive edge, and obviously, we both know from experience that that's the first thing that goes. Yeah. And when you lose that, then it really is time to hang him up. He hadn't lost that.
No, 44 years old, and he still enjoys playing the game. And we talked to Omar in Chicago before we came home. We saw him one day, and he said, maybe one more year. Yeah. I asked him. I said, is this going to be it, Omar? He says, no. He said, I think I want one more year.
Good for him.
And you know what? When he tells you that, he means it.
Well, and that was a very close play, and they got him. Second base umpire David Rackley punches out the veteran Vizquel. It looked like Omar hadn't quite come set on his lead, and McAllister timed his whirl and twirl perfectly.
Watch this throw. Right on the money.
Yeah, I think it was a good call, too.
Yes, indeed.
Omar must have been listening to what we were saying.
Yeah.
Fouled right back. Well, the thing that makes you believe that Omar Vizquel could play at least another year is that physically he keeps himself in great shape. He serves that great mentoring role, and yet he can still get the job done when you need him to play 2-3 times a week, whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
So not going to miss.
The last thing you need on a ball club is a guy that's going to mentor somebody else if you can't play. You know, I mean, that's you're taking up a spot that can be, more productive. The White Sox have the best of both worlds. They've got a guy that can play a number of positions, play them well. Can he play every day? Probably not. He's probably, obviously past that stage of his career. But he can give you 1 or 2 or 3 days in a row and do the job both offensively and defensively, and help your younger kids learn how to play the game at the big league level. It's a different game at this level than anywhere else in the world. And you don't just step into it and all of a sudden know everything that needs to be known and how to play the game.
With 2 down, a 1-1 count for Beckham. How much of that, Mike, what you're talking about, comes from verbal, and how much of that is just by example?
I think a lot of it is by example, but I have a theory that the players can sit there and they listen to the manager, they listen to the coaches, and they listen to what you're saying, but they sometimes they just don't hear it. It doesn't. But a teammate says the same thing you said to him, and all of a sudden it clicks for him, and they do something a little bit wrong, and a guy like Omar, or Jim Thome, or somebody like that, or Sandy Alomar, or Eddie Murray when we were here, comes up and says, hey, that's not the way we do it here. That means a huge difference, and you need that.
It's almost like a dad and a son. Son won't listen to his dad; he'll listen to anybody but you, even though you know what you're talking about.
Well, and I think that's why we always hear you need veterans. You'll hear general managers, field managers say, "Hey, veterans are important. You need some veterans." You hear people, "Well, we want to go with the kids, but we need to have some veterans around them."
That's right.
The right ones.
The right ones, exactly.
Juan Pierre, a base hit his first time up, takes a strike.
Well, players need to be told by their teammates when they're not doing things right.
Yeah, I agree.
Case example, Cabrera and Santana,
right.
Here, a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Right.
They need to do that. Does it look good? No, it doesn't necessarily look good, but it needs to be done.
It is good. It's good for a team. Patrol yourself. Take care of your own business in your own house, and everything will be fine.
That's right.
This guy is a tough out with runners in scoring position. I'm going to tell you. He may be a leadoff hitter, but he can be an awfully tough out.
This time he's an easy out as he bounces out to first. And we'll go to the bottom of the third. Still no score. We go to the bottom of the third, still scoreless. Jack Hanahan, Luis Valbuena, and Ezekiel Carrera due for the Indians. And a first pitch strike from Dylan Axelrod.
Well, it's been a while since Jack has had an at-bat, and boy, when he went down, he was swinging it very well.
Down and in again. 2 balls and a strike. Three and one.
There's one guy we talked to, Grover, this year where he went up in the weight of a bat from a 31 to a 33 during the course of the year, and it really started to improve his game where he felt like he wasn't trying to swing too hard.
That always amazes me when people do, because I always went down.
Most guys do.
Yeah, I started at 33, and as the season went along, I went down. I ended up at a 31-ounce bat, but there are, I've heard Otis Nixon when he was here years ago. Bobby Bonds was our hitting instructor. You remember him,
right?
And
right back to him.
And he gave Otis a big, heavy bat to use, and made all the difference in the world. So
let's check in once again right now with Katie Witham.
Well, Matt, we've got another doubleheader of Indians baseball coming at you this Saturday when the Twins come to town. And the Tribe, a special deal for all the kids out there. You can get in, all kids can get in free to the 105 game. If you don't have your tickets yet, go online, get them now at Indians.com. Guys, back up to you.
All right, thanks, Katie. Good deal for the kids on Saturday. Bring the whole gang. Time running out on this 2011 baseball season. Luis Valbuena awaits the 1-0. It's a called strike to even the count. The Indians come into tonight's game at 76 and 76 on the year. They've won 4 of their last 5. Chicago 74 and 79. They've lost 9 of 11 and 14 of their last 20.
And really, the Indians have a chance to make a statement here for second place because they're playing the team that they have to beat out in the White Sox. And that would be a huge hurdle, I think. If you can finish second, you beat these guys out, and you go from last year where you had a bad finish to coming right back and you got a chance.
Well, Mike, what's the difference maybe in perspective? If you're Ozzie Guillen, your team wasn't built to contend for second place. If you're Manny Acta, most people thought you would be lucky to stay out of the cellar this year.
Well, it's a pride thing. For me, the difference in the two, it's the White Sox now are playing for pride and finishing as well as they can, which would be second place. It's still disappointing to them, but do that. The Indians, on the other hand, are playing for position. They're playing to position themselves for next year and finishing second, finishing over 500. I think are 2 very worthy goals. We did the same thing back in 92 and 93 and challenged our guys to finish. At the time, I think it was like 3rd or something like that. But, finish it ahead of what everybody expected us to do. And our guys did that. And it really, I think it really put us in a position where our confidence, amped up and made a difference in the following years. So I think that the Indians finishing second and finishing over 500 are tremendously important. More important to the Indians to finish second than it is to the White Sox to finish second because there's a difference between pride and the position.
It's a building block, man. You go from there. Okay, we know we can finish second. Let's move on from there.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah. The 1-2.
I mean, this has been a year also that with the injuries and the guys that have gone down, and you're saying, hey, my frontline players have been out. You can use all the excuses, but they were still able to do that with all that happening is something very positive.
Fly ball to left. Pierre is there. He's got it. Another 1-2-3 inning for Dylan Axelrod. We remain scoreless through 3. Yeah, you look at the Indians Hall of Fame.
That's a neat deal. I mean, it really, really is. You walk back there and everything gets real quiet. Have you been back there? It just seems like everything's a lot quieter back in there. It's really I was impressed
did a
with
nice job with it.
I've been out there, obviously when nothing's going on, not during a game or anything like that, but that's a beautiful shot.
Alexei Ramirez 0 for 1, fouls one out of play. Two-strike pitch fouled back.
One thing I like that Zach McAllister is doing tonight, pitching ahead in the count, 6-0-2, 1-2 counts. And Mike, as we talked in between innings, up-tempo pace and style that he's been going. We'll see if he can maintain that when you get a couple of runners on base.
Yeah, I think it's real important. There are some guys that have to be have that up-tempo, and he's getting the ball, getting his sign and pitching. And when he's done that, he's been very firm with his pitches. He's located well, and you're right, he's pitched ahead a lot tonight.
Line drive to short. Caught by Jason Donald.
And a lot of young pitchers, they start getting, they get people on base, or they start trying to be a little more careful, a little too fine, and they start slowing everything down. They take their time, deep breaths, and they take longer and longer between pitches, and things just get worse.
That's it. The rhythm of a starter is so important.
Our Ion 4 Powerade rankings. Batista in Toronto with a slim lead over Curtis Granderson.
Boy, that's an amazing year for Granderson.
Isn't that amazing? It is amazing.
Really
Absolutely.
Is. That to me amazes me more than anything. That the numbers you see up there. I mean, that was Bautista a couple of years ago when he went from 16 to 50, and you're going, wait a minute, what happened? Well, that's Granderson now with 40, 41.
You and I went the other direction. We went from 10 to 2.
We were lucky to have 40 in our career.
Konerko called out on strikes his first time up. Just below the knees.
Joe Sharp and I went when we were playing. And he comes up to me one day and says, Grover, he said, you're a big, strong guy. He said, why don't you hit more home runs? And I looked at him and said, but Joe, I don't know. I have no clue.
Takes a strike. It's 2-2.
Well, some people you swing for the fences, but you wouldn't strike out. I mean, back then strikeouts they didn't like you to do that.
No, they didn't at all, did they?
No, sirree. And you were a guy you were patient. You took a lot of walks. You weren't going to be
slowly grounded to short. Donald can take his time, throws him out 2 away. Take a look at the way McAllister went at Paul Konerko here.
You know, they have pitched him pretty tough today. He started him off with a slider for strike one, went fastball up and away and missed. Misses with an off-speed pitch. There he comes back with that little slider. Goes inside and jams him, and that's not an easy thing to do. Konerko, when you jam him, I don't care if you got 2 strikes on him or not. He's a good hitter.
He is a good hitter.
But he got the fastball inside on him.
Big Adam Dunn grounded out to first his first time up. A high pop. A long run for Hanahan. He won't be able to get to it. Not with that shift on.
Well, he's coming over from shortstop, man. He was a cab ride away from that ball. I mean, he was playing over there at the shortstop side in a pull position. And you can see how far he has to go. And he's coming off leg injuries. Careful.
The 0-2. A little bit high. Now McAllister lets it fly, but the sinker runs off the plate. Stays 2-2 with 2 down here in the 4th. The White Sox with 3 hits, an infield single by Juan Pierre in the first, a couple of doubles in the third. But thanks to the pickoff, the White Sox unable to score. He's run the count full. And the payoff pitch is swung on and missed. Third strikeout for McAllister. He retires the White Sox in order for the second time tonight. The field, no score. Bottom of the fourth. Jason Donald, Carlos Santana, and Jim Thome due for the Tribe. And a strike over the outside corner. Donald, a base hit his first time up. And he takes a strike. He's down on the count now, 0-2. Line drive, base hit into right field. Donald on a 1-2 count. Able to serve it to the opposite field. And he's 2 for 2. Let's go back to the studios right now for Hyundai Studios in-game update.
All right, Matt, Rick, Mike, let's go to Fenway Park in Boston where the Red Sox are trying to hold off the Rays for that wild card spot here in the bottom of the first against Baltimore. A double off the wall and bounces off the head, two of Nolan Reimold by Adrian Gonzalez, scores Pedroia. Boston took a 1-0 lead. It's now 1-1, third inning. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Al. Yankees leading Tampa 4-0. They're in the third in the Bronx. Carlos Santana drew a walk his first time up. Pitch out, but nothing doing. I know I've asked you this before, Mike, but a little refresher course for us. Pitch outs, are they hunch moves, or do you have stats that you go over and know the other team's tendencies?
I think it's a combination of both, Matt. It's an educated guess. You do have stats. You have the manager's tendencies, and you go after. The only thing I don't like pitch outs called right after a throw over to first base. If if you're pitching out, you want the guy to go. If you throw over to first base, you're trying to cut his lead down,
right?
And it kind of works at cross purposes, I think. And, our pitchers is always understanding orders. Look, if we call a pitch out, don't be thrown over to first base. We want the guy to go, and so we can throw him out. And but it is an educated guess. You do have stats. Your advanced scout is there looking trying to get managers' tendencies, and you work off of that.
Did you ever have a coach on your staff that may steal signs? Like we used to have Joe Nosick. Remember how good
Joe
he was?
Joe was awfully good, wasn't he?
Joe was terrific. Hey,
no,
I think that may be on or something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, that's an art when you have a guy in your ball club that can look at that third base coach or look in the dugout and pick up some signs.
When Joe was with the White Sox and I was managing here with the Indians early on, I'd call Joe occasionally, especially at the end of the season, when we'd be in the playoffs to see if he had the other team's signs, and if he did, he would give me close to what they were. Some of them, not always, but Joe would always tell me, "So, but by the way," he said, "I had your signs after the second time we played you." And I said, "No, you didn't. I changed them." He said, "Yeah, I know you changed them." So
he's still working to try and get your signs.
Yeah.
He was the absolute best, Joe Nosick was, no question.
Joe was
he
good.
was here in Cleveland before he went to Chicago and joined those guys.
Oh, yeah.
But then,
I came over here from San Diego hitting $175, and between Joe Nosick and Dave Duncan, they worked with me every day for 2 weeks, probably 2 hours a day for 2 weeks trying to get me back. And I really credit those guys for really turning my career around because it was not going the right direction at the time.
Santana able to lay off a close pitch, 2-2 the count. Almost chased after it. And, on a number of occasions this year, we've seen umpires ring hitters up for that much.
Sometimes, they do. Sometimes they would ring you up for something like that.
Well, those black bats are hard to follow.
They
really are hard to follow.
Tougher to pick up than a lighter bat. That's what I've been told.
Base hit into right center. It was kind of bloop, so Donald had to hold up. And he has to stop at second base. It's weird. Off the bat, it looked like it was going to be in the right field with no problem, but then you saw it just almost like a parachute came out of the back end of that ball.
Well, from up here, we had a better angle. When you're on field level, and he sees that ball's not hit hard like Santana can hit it. That's a little humpback liner. He had to make sure it gets over his head. So, you just move up a base. No big deal. There's nobody out. You have a good start to the inning. Back-to-back hits, first and second. You got your big boys coming up.
Well, this was a situation they had in the first inning with one out. Jim Thome at the plate, runners first and second, and Jim hit into a double play. I don't know about you guys. They both may be in the twilight of their careers, but it's a pretty neat deal to look out there and see both Jim Thome and Omar Vizquel playing on the same field.
You bet it is.
The 1-0 missed in off the plate.
Well, you're looking at two future Hall of Famers, in
no
my
doubt,
opinion.
No doubt.
In my opinion. I mean, it's yet to be seen, but I don't think there's any question that they'll both be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, let's just put it this way: if they're not, then people need to check their hole card, because that's.
Takes a strike, 2-1.
They've both been awfully good, awfully long, and played on some really good ball clubs.
Yes, they have.
And I don't know how you can. I don't know how you can keep them out. Of course, I didn't know how you could keep Bert Blyleven out either. But
well, it took a while, but he's there. He is there. He'll be coming in this weekend again to say hello to us.
Now low, 3-1.
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
Sometimes it is. We just saw him last week, so it's always good.
Well, I don't think it'll take nearly that long for either one of these two guys.
I agree.
To be enshrined
in
Cooperstown. Meantime, great opportunity for the Tribe here to maybe grab the lead in this game. 2-on, nobody out, and a 3-1 count. And a swing and a miss. Now, Mike, Rick and I talked about this the other day. Jim Thome, in his career, the majority of his homers have come on first pitches. The second highest number of homers in terms of counts, 3-2 pitches.
Well, again, deeper in the count you get, the more you can tell what you can tell. You just threw him a 3-1 changeup. That kind of puts you on the defensive now.
And he smashes it into right field, a base hit. Donald coming around third. He will score. Santana into third. And Jim Thome puts the Indians on top with an RBI single to right field, his 46th run batted in on the year.
Well, he threw him the 3-1, either changeup or slider. It was 81, but I'll tell you what, he tries to throw this fastball by him, and Jimmy says, there's no way. This is going to be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. So the Indians will come out and score first again in this ball game. He ropes a base hit into right field, allows Donald to come in to score, Santana to go to third base, and it's a 1-0 Tribe lead.
RBI number 1,670 for Jim Thome. He's just 6 behind Gary Sheffield for 25th on the all-time Ribby list. And now Shelley Duncan takes ball one. First and third, nobody out. And Duncan taking 2-0.
He had a good at-bat the first time up, did Duncan. He was down in the count and really worked about a 9 or 10 pitch at-bat. He ended up getting himself out, swinging at that breaking ball away. He looks locked in here, and now he's got the count in his favor. See if he can remain patient, get something to his liking. Now, that's how he did it last at-bat to get himself out.
Well, you see a lot of hitters getting the hitters counts, good hitters counts, 2-0, 3-1, and they're looking dead red. They're looking for that fastball, and their pitch recognition goes right out the window. He throws him a little slider, and nothing good comes from that.
Just exactly what happened.
3 balls and a strike.
Here we go. Reshuffle the deck and get yourself back in a good frame of mind.
Well, this is what they call cripple shooting. This is he's backed him into a count that he should throw a fastball here. We'll see if he does.
But this is the type of guy that would probably go anything but a fastball in this count, like he did to Jim Thome.
Exactly,
3-1 slider or changeup. I'd be surprised to see a fastball here. Well, it looks like it away.
And the 3-1. Inside ball 4. The bases are loaded. And so the Indians' first 4 have all reached here in the 4th inning, and that brings out White Sox pitching coach Don Cooper. While they talk things over, let's have a look at our minor league report brought to you by Kia. Jake Lowry, this year at Mahoning Valley, pitched in 69 games. 4th round pick this year out of James Madison. Hit 6 homers, drove in 43. Good start to his young career. So, Mike, the Indians really hadn't done anything against Dylan Axelrod, and all of a sudden here in the 4th, Jason Donald on a 1-2 pitch gets a base hit to right field, and next thing you know, they're off and running here.
Well, they've been more patient, this inning. I think a typical at bat of the Indians so far has been the at bat by Ezekiel Guerrero, the last at bat when he hit the little fly ball to left field, swung at a pitch off the plate up out of the strike zone. It wasn't a strike. I think the danger with a guy like Axelrod, you see the ball so well that you end up going outside your hitting zone. You start expanding it, and you get yourself out more than the pitcher getting you out. And I think they've been more patient this inning.
Grady Sizemore chops the first pitch foul back out of play. You almost get too comfortable is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Huh?
You get too comfortable, too anxious. The ball looks like it's a beach ball, and you go out there to try to hit it when it's not a good pitch to hit.
Grady with a high fly ball left field. Juan Pierre coming in, not much of a throwing an arm at all. Santana will tag. He will score easily. And it's a 2-0 Indians lead as Grady Sizemore picks up his 31st RBI on the year.
Any way to get him home. Sacrifice fly works. 39th sac fly for the Indians this year, and Grady, you're challenging the right guy out there, because out in left field, Pierre has probably the weakest throwing arm of the bunch.
Matt Laporta now. Grounded to short his first time up, drives this one deep to right. Viciedo, it's over his head. Tomey coming around third. He will lumber his way to the plate. Duncan stops at third. It's an RBI double for Matt Laporta and a 3-0 Indians lead.
Well, there's some serious speed on the bases with Tomey and Duncan running.
And Laporta trailing.
And Laporta, that's right.
Well, that's all right. They had to read it first. And it was getting over the head of Viciedo out in right field. Laporta hit this ball right on the nose. I mean, this is a liner. Look at a high breaking ball. 81 miles per hour, and he stayed on and put a nice stroke on it. So Tomey had to make sure he wasn't going to catch it first, and then by that time, Duncan wasn't sure what to do, so you just move up. Tomey scores. They've got 3 on the board and a chance to add to it.
Jack Hanahan looks at a ball inside.
It almost looks like this guy's Axelrod's throwing a little cutter in there. Does it look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nothing straight. He's trying to run it in. He sinks it. He's trying to do anything he can.
There's a liner towards center. Diaza on the move, reaches up to grab it. Tagging at third and coming home is Shelley Duncan. And it's a 4-0 Indians lead. So not only have they been patient, they've gotten some hits, but now 2 sac flies in the inning to go along with it.
Yeah, that's just a terrific at-bat there by Hanahan, hitting the ball right what you want to do, went the other way. And, I mean, the center fielder, Diaza, makes a nice fly. I mean, that's a beautiful swing. A little sinker going down and away. Fastball stayed on it nicely with the man in scoring position. He gets rewarded with the RBI, but you're a little upset you didn't get a hit there when you hit it that well.
That hard, yeah.
Luis Valbuena chops it foul into the photo well.
You know, we get a crowd in the booth, and Teflon Tom really tries to start
shining, doesn't he?
Oh, my goodness. He is on top of his game, man. He's got the chalkboard working.
Slowly chopped off the dirt in front of the plate. The flip, the first inning over. Indians sent 8 men to the plate. They score 4 times. And after 4, it's the Indians 4 and the White Sox nothing. United, proud to fly the Cleveland Indians. And by Panini's. Like Panini's franchise group on Facebook for your chance to win giveaways and prizes. We're back here at Progressive Field. Nightfall in downtown Cleveland. Zach McAllister working on a 3-hit shutout through 4. He'll face Dayan Viciedo, Alejandro Diaza, and Omar Vizquel here in the 5th for Chicago. Armed now with a 4-0 lead. And that ball's popped up. Out goes Valbuena. In comes Carrera. And Ezekiel makes the catch, 1 away. Scoreboard update brought to you by your Northern Ohio Ford dealers and the all-new 2012 Ford Focus. Ford, drive one. Diaza hit a liner to short his first time up. Mike, you mentioned earlier that earlier in your career when you came from San Diego over to the Indians, you were batting 192 with the Padres.
What was it, 192?
You came to Cleveland, you hit 325 the rest of the year with 10 homers. You had none in San Diego, 56 ribbies.
I got hot. Yeah, it was Dave Duncan and Joe Nosek, mainly Joe Nosek. We went down. The cage was back out under center field, and the dust in there was 4 foot deep, and
the rats are about 3 foot
terrible.
long.
Yeah, it's terrible. But for 2 weeks, I guarantee you, 2-3 hours every day, we were in there talking about it, we're doing drills, and just trying to get back to where they remembered me being when I was playing with the Rangers, and it worked. And I owe those guys a lot. I mean, I really do. They're good people, but they were good baseball guys too.
We know so much of hitting, or baseball in general, is confidence. But when you're doing your work, when you're trying to work your way out of a slump, what is it that you do physically to get your confidence back?
I don't know what came first. What came first, the chicken or the egg? The only way you get your confidence back
is finding one little thing for a hitter to say, okay, and just focus on that.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. I mean, it's anything you can find to be able to give a guy a sense of hope when he goes to the plate. And then the confidence comes from being successful, in situations, and then it slowly builds. You don't go from zero confidence in your abilities to 100% confidence in one game, but you get that glimmer of hope. I like it a lot of times. The putting, You know, if you sit there and you, oh, that feels pretty good, I'm going to try that, and you make a couple of putts, all of a sudden it's off to the races.
Yeah.
And it's the same with hitting. Anything else is the same way. It's
you can make an out. I mean, you can hit a line drive and make an out when you're trying to come out of a slump and you say, okay, not bad. All right, I hit the ball hard, and you start taking it back. But eventually you got to start seeing hits fall. I don't care if you break your bat, you hit it off the end of the bat. You start hitting 3-4 line drives, and they come into you and say, hey, way to swing the ball, way to swing the bat. Just atom ball. I don't want to hear that crap.
You get
start
tired
getting
after
upset.
a while. Right.
Then you say, enough of that atom ball. Don't talk to me again. You want hits.
That's right.
Mike, it seemed as though in the mid-'90s the Indians hardly ever had offensive slumps. Was confidence ever a problem for any of those hitters? Vizquel,
I don't think so.
Alomar, Bell,
No.
Thome. I don't recall any of those guys ever searching for their confidence.
They had not found any kryptonite in Cleveland, that's for sure. Good hitting breeds good hitting. I mean, you can take a guy that's an average hitter, put him among 3 or 4 guys that are just outstanding hitters, and I guarantee the guy that's the average hitter will be a little bit better than he was when he started. It feeds on itself.
How about Delman Young over in Detroit after coming from Minnesota with Victor and with Cabrera and with those guys?
He picked it up, no doubt about it. Foul by Vizquel.
You know, that average hitter is never going to be the hitter that's can carry a ball club, but you put him with an Albert Bell and Eddie Murray and Lofton and Alomar and Ramirez and Thome and Sorrento. You know, you go down the list, you put them in with those guys, and they're much better hitters, because of that. And they can carry a club for 1 game or 2 games. And but it just good hitting breeds good hitting.
Vizquel able to lay off, and the count goes full. And with those teams, it was hard to find the weak link, the so-called average hitter.
Well, it was. Charlie Manuel was the hitting coach, and Charlie did a great job as a hitting coach. And I don't necessarily know about that it was because of the technical terms that he dealt with, but he really was good about keeping guys confident in their abilities and convincing them that they were good hitters and productive hitters and they were winners. And, Charlie did a good job as a hitting coach.
Omar Vizquel, still productive, still confident. 2 for 2 tonight. He has doubled. He is now singled. And he's got the White Sox knocking on the door here in the 5th.
Well, got another fastball. It was about the same pitch as he hit the first time up. He did the same thing with it, lined it down into right field. So that short, quick swing of Omar, he is 2 for 2. Boy, and this is the inning that you really want to put another 0 on the board if you're Zach McAllister. Your team just scored you 4.
Tyler Flowers struck out his first time up and looks at a ball up high.
Now is what you were talking about. Watch his tempo. See how it continues now that he's got. See, here comes Tim Belcher. He's going to go out. Maybe he spots something. Maybe he doesn't.
Yeah. I guarantee you that he looked real tentative with that pitch, like he was trying to guide it in there, and a lot of that is a kid starts tensing up and trying to be too careful. Hey, look, go out there and just keep your tempo up. Get the ball, get your sign, check the runners, go to the plate, hit the spot, let your catcher call the pitches. You just think about delivering the ball to where he's at, and then let what happens going to happen. I mean, once that ball leaves his hand, he has no more control. But he's got to go ahead and be aggressive like he has been up until now.
That's what I like. Belcher didn't waste any time, man. After he saw that first pitch, it's like, here I go. You got to talk to the kid. Because this is the times in his first 2 starts where he struggled. Is when he got into the stretch a couple of times, and then it really started to snowball on him. So he's out there, and hopefully he took care of business. You're a ground ball away from getting out of the inning.
He got a foul tip there.
The thing of it is, he has to understand and realize is that the White Sox are still behind. And if he makes his pitches and not super pitches, he doesn't have to be Superman. If they wanted Superman, they'd brought Superman around. Just be who he is and make the pitches, be aggressive with him, and he'll be okay.
75th pitch of the night right here.
The old saying, trust your stuff.
Exactly.
Flowers able to lay off a pretty good pitch. Now the 2-1. Swung on and missed. Well, he has shown pretty good life on his fastball all night long.
He's 75, 80 pitches into it, and he's still throwing the ball 93 to 95 miles an hour. So that he's down with his pitches. He hadn't been up in the strike zone very much.
The 2-2. That's fouled back out of play. McAllister looking for maybe the old pitcher's best friend right here, a ground ball double play.
Why not?
Instead, he just blew him away, went up the ladder, and struck him out.
I guess we'll take the punch out, too.
Strikeout's not too bad.
Yeah, I know. Second time he's been able to get Tyler Flowers. Goes upstairs with the high cheddar. There it is, above the belt. Got him to chase it. So that is 2 outs. 1 more to go.
Gordon Becken doubled to right center his first time up. Liner, foul by inches.
Big break. Big break right there.
Foul all the way.
Okay. Okie dokie. Well, you know what? He must have thought so because he didn't drop his bat. You know, he hit it off the end of the bat, and you can see it. But from our angle, I'm thinking, oh, don't hit chalk here.
Boy, that was
missed
close.
Missed by about 6 inches.
Well, like I said, missed by that much.
That much. Maxwell Smart.
Here's the 0-1. Nothing doing at the second base where Alejandro Diaz is. Down low, evens the count 1-1.
You know, I hate to see pitchers do what McAllister did. He did the little inside
spin.
He's got a 4-run lead. The guy at second base, he's got 2. The guy at second base is not going to beat you. It's the guy at the plate and the guy that's on deck is going to beat you. That's where your attention needs to be.
Don't lose your concentration. You're right. I agree with you. I say that a lot when I see things like that happen.
It's almost, guys, as if it becomes a pattern of habit where you see that stuff happen. Because we see a lot where, you know, pitchers pay attention to runners when that runner doesn't mean anything.
Nothing.
He's 1 strike from getting out of trouble. A little bit low. 2-2. Piazza Vizquel on the bases. Beckham at the plate, and the 2-2 is fouled right back. The other one, guys, how often do you remember when you were playing? The pitcher, you know, faking the throw to third and then looking over to first. How often do you? I don't remember seeing that very often, and now you see it almost once a game if you get a first and third situation.
Well, it never works. Let's put it that way. It only worked one time with Manny Ramirez on first, and you know, not many other times after that.
The 2-2 drilled deep left. This is high off the wall. Piazza scores. Vizquel has to stop at third. The throw goes into second, where Laporta was there to back it up.
Yeah, that throw cannot go to second base. He's got to get that ball, and you stop the man on first with 2 outs and guys running. You're expecting them to score. You don't go to second base because Laporta's the trailer. He's following the runner.
Well, they work on it in spring training, and with a double, possible triple, they're lining the relay.
Right.
They're lining up at home to get that guy going from first base to home
plate.
Because that ball's off the wall. He's going to be at second base. It's a double.
It's automatic double. Stop the run from scoring.
Yeah, the throw has to come home. That's where they're lining up to throw it.
You got to know that in your mind before the ball's even hit. Because on 2 outs, a runner's often running all the way. He's thinking home.
Popped him up. This should get him out. Hanahan is under it, and he makes the catch. White Sox get on the board, but they strand 2. We're halfway home. The Indians on top, 4-1. It's a 4-1 Indians lead. Pretzel
look
time.
At that. How about that? He's doing a number. That a boy.
Pretzel has no chance.
Dad saying, "Give me a bite."
That's exactly what he was doing. Under the guys are trying to fix his wrapper for him.
Perfect bunt by Carrera. And Axelrod gave it a game effort, but really, he had no chance. And there's a great drag bunt by Ezekiel Carrera. It's something we've seen him attempt a number of times this year, but hasn't had a lot of success with it.
Watch his front foot coming out of the batter's box, or his back foot is what you should lead with going to the pitcher. He stays in the box to bunt it before he takes off. A lot of times you'll see him bunt where he's running out of the batter's box and your bat drags and you can't put it in fair territory. Watch, he's in the box. That's a nice job there, and he had the bat in fair territory, enabled him to put that ball. Watch the footwork. See that one? That front foot came back. The left one went out towards the pitcher's mound.
And that's what you want to have happen.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Perfect footwork for the drag bunt.
Jason Donald's having a good night. He is 2 for 2, 2 singles, and a run scored, and he's played very good defensively at shortstop tonight. Now, if you haven't heard, Asdrubal Cabrera suffered an injury late in the first game of this doubleheader. He wasn't scheduled to play tonight anyway. He was going to get the night off, as Donald now has a 3-hit night. He's 3 for 3.
JD.
But the good news with regards to Cabrera, he was feeling much better afterwards. They're calling it a mid-back sprain. He said it felt almost like a cramp after the ball game. It was pretty tight, but he said it was starting to loosen up and feel much better after the ball game, which that's the really good news. But it was so bad at this point, he wound up bunting because he said, I couldn't swing after that, so I just tried to bunt it. And then he had to come out of the ball game. But he figures maybe a couple of days off and he'll be able to play the remaining games after that. We'll wait and see. Meantime, Jason Donald filling in for him has 3 hits. Carlos Santana at the plate has walked, singled, and scored a run. '90th pitch of the night here for Dylan Axelrod. And Santana checks. It's low. 2 balls, no strikes. Right-hander Josh Kinney getting loose for Chicago. High, ball 3. Jim Thome waiting on deck. .3-0 count. And Santana taking, it's a strike. Ozzie Guillen's club lost the first game to the Indians 4-3 this afternoon, down 4-1 here. Tribe threatening to add to it now. And on the 3-1 pitch, it's chopped to first. Konerko goes to second for 1. The relay back.
Second,
a double play.
3-6-1 double play for the White Sox defense.
Time now for our game recap, brought to you by your Northern Ohio Toyota dealers. Jim Thome with an RBI single got the Indians on the board first in the 4th inning. And then Matt Laporta with an RBI double. A couple of sac flies. Indians scoring 4 times in the 4th. Find out about more than 30 Toyota offers available now at buyatoyota.com. White Sox will intentionally walk Jim Thome here.
Well, after making that pitch to Santana and getting the double play, why not? Put him on first base and you're going to take your chances with Duncan, the right-hander.
Just another walk for the future Hall of Famer, and he has had a ton of those. This will be number 1,721. He's 8th all-time on the walks list, creeping up on Mickey Mantle, but highly unlikely that he'll catch him for 7th place before the season comes to an end. Still, anytime you're on a list and somebody says next up is Mickey Mantle, you know you're in pretty good shape.
You're flying pretty straight, aren't you? Yeah.
First and third with 2 down. And Shelley Duncan, the batter. Ozzie Guillen, there's a lot of speculation in the Windy City. What will happen with Guillen? Will he be back for the final year of his contract next year? Will he somehow force his way out of Chicago to maybe explore options elsewhere? Will the White Sox simply say, maybe we need a new voice in the clubhouse? It all remains to be seen. But, Mike, anytime there's, I hate to use the bad cliche, where there's smoke, a lot of times there's fire, though. When you hear rumblings or you hear stories that there's maybe some unrest, or usually there's something to it somewhere.
Yes, especially if you don't hear Ozzie talking about it. If he's not talking about it, there's usually something.
Well, I think he made his statement. He's saying, I don't want to be a lame duck manager. I want a new contract. And that's all he said. Other than that, it's been at rest for him.
Yeah, I think you're right. Whether there's smoke, there's fire. There's too many rumors flying. The Florida rumor but who knows what's going to go on? They'll I guarantee they'll figure it out.
Inside, 3 balls, no strikes.
Well, this is not what Axelrod wanted to do after the intentional walk to Tomey. This is the guy he wanted to go after, and this could be his last hitter.
Here's the set and the pitch, and it's ball 4. The bases are loaded, and with 2 down, that's going to be it for Dylan Axelrod. Ozzie Guillen will go to the bullpen, and Dylan Axelrod's night comes to an end after 4 2/3 innings of work. He allows 4 runs. He will leave with the responsibility of all 3 runners on base. So the call to the bullpen is brought to you by Verizon 4G LTE. Rule the air on the most advanced 4G network in the world. Josh Kinney's coming on when we come back. Bases are loaded with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Josh Kinney is coming on for Chicago. 12th appearance. No wins or losses. ERA 6.32. He's allowed 21 hits in his 15 2/3 innings.
Well, he's coming into a mess. Bases loaded. Boy, did you ever like bringing in pitchers with the bases loaded?
No.
I mean, coming in, really no room for mistakes.
No, there's not at all. I mean, everything's stacked against that pitcher being successful, and but sometimes you got no choice.
Right.
I mean,
I understand
that.
I
have
understand.
choice here, but
and there's some pitchers, they can get out of it. They don't mind pitching with guys on base, but I'll tell you what, there's not many of them that can do that.
Well, I guarantee there's not a manager's stomach that didn't do flip-flops when he has to do it.
Right.
Well, the one thing he has going for him is he's got 2 outs. Grady Sizemore will be the batter. He drove in a run with a sac fly in the 4th. Up high, ball 1. Just caught the inside corner. And that evens it up at 1-1. Fouled that off his front leg, and it's going to take a minute or two to let the pain subside.
Looked like it off his knee, I thought. Ooh, shin.
Oh, man,
shin burner.
Direct hit off the
Ouch.
shin.
Oh, man, that hurts.
That hurts.
I could see through those blue socks. He's got his ankles taped. You can see where the top of the white tape comes, and it was just above that. On the shin. Very sensitive area. Ouch.
That hurts.
Yeah, it does. He'll have a nice little bump there, or an indentation, one of the two.
Bases loaded, 2 down on the 1-2 pitch. Brady with a bloop on the infield, and Ramirez will make the catch. Indians leave them loaded. And we go to the 6th, 4-1 Cleveland. Like Panini's franchise group on Facebook for your chance to win giveaways and prizes. We roll on to the 6th inning here at Progressive Field. Indians with a 4-1 lead, and Zach McAllister, 86 pitches under his belt, will come on to start the inning with activity in the Tribe bullpen. Left-hander Rafael Perez is up and getting loose. Alexei Ramirez will lead off. He's 0 for 2, and he went to the front of the box. Maybe just to take a look. McAllister on the night, 50% first pitch strikes, 10 out of 20. And that's up and in, 3-0. And that's up and in. He walked him on 4 straight and really wasn't close. Well, let's take a look at the AT&T trivia question. It really had our 2 contestants tonight baffled. Major league record for most home runs in a final season. It's the wording of the question that our contestants did not agree with.
Our contestants.
We're taking issue with it.
Dave Kingman.
Wow.
That's who I would have said.
King Kong.
Had you given me a
I would have
chance.
said someone like Bonds or Williams.
I thought Ted Williams maybe, yeah. 35.
Dave Kingman. Well, he hit 35 every year. He just struck out about 180 times. But he could hit home runs. King Kong Kingman could hit them.
He could hit them.
Trying to remember where all he played besides Oakland.
Well,
Chicago,
he played in Chicago,
the Mets,
played
maybe?
San Francisco, played with the Mets. Yeah. He played with a lot of different teams.
Well, you hit that many home runs, and you're going to play with a lot of teams. A lot of people are going to give you a chance when the other ones have given up on you.
I saw him in spring training hit a broken bat home run in Scottsdale Stadium when he was with the Giants. It was off Rick Waits. Broke his bat and hit a home run.
Waiter gave up a lot of home runs. You remember that one? That's the rotten thing to say.
Well, Waiter Grover said it in case you're watching. I didn't say a darn thing.
Matt Laporta in foul ground has it for out number 1. Let's go back to the Hyundai Studios for an in-game update once again with Al.
All right, Matt. Well, the Angels trying to stay in that wild card race, center the race in the West, and Mark Trumbo takes a big step towards helping them tonight against the Blue Jays. 3-run homer here to make it 9-2 Angels. They're in the 5th for Trumbo. His 29th home run of the season, and now 87 RBI. Strong case for Rookie of the Year.
No question about it.
All right, we've got a timeout here at Progressive Field. Manny Acta has gone to the bullpen. Rafael Perez coming on in relief of Zach McAllister, who pitched a terrific ball game here tonight. And he goes just 5 1/3 innings, but allowing just 1 run so far. And I said he pitched a whale of a ball game. I was talking in the context of what we've seen so far. I mean, you'd like to obviously see a starting pitcher get deeper than just 5 1/3, but in his first 2 starts, he didn't last anywhere near this long.
I think for me, he's pitched well. He just came out, he took command from the first pitch on, ran into a little non-aggressiveness there in the 5th, and I think he's,
for the most part, he was aggressive.
Yeah,
yes,
I think so.
yes,
Yeah.
indeed. He got out of that 5th inning, which he needed to do. He was right on the ropes, but he was able to get the out he needed in Juan Pierre.
Adam Dunn, 0 for 2 with a runner at first, 1 out. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Adam Dunn just got his first extra base hit of the year off a left-hander on Sunday. Three balls, no strikes. Alejandro Diaz waiting on deck. That looked pretty good, but it's called a ball, and he walks him on 4 straight. So 2 on, 1 out. And Viciedo to the plate, right-handed hitter.
Now, you hate to see walks, to start a rally, because you want to make them hit their way on with a 3-run lead, but now that brings up the tying run to the plate on 2 walks in the inning.
He is line to right, fly to right. And it's ball 1. And a strike is called. 1-1 to even the count. Zach Putnam warming in the Tribe pen. Harold Baines takes a look at the White Sox base runners. Big chopper to short. Donald to second for 1. Valbuena's turn. Not in time. Donald did not give Valbuena a real good feed, and I think that's what cost him.
Well, the one thing you have to make sure of is that first out. So you always want to give the good feed. He didn't get a good break out of the box. And you're right, that throw was behind him. It wasn't a good feed. If they get it to where they should have, right there at his letters, he's able to turn it. That was not a good throw by Jason Donald.
So 2 down. White Sox at the corners. And Alejandro Diaz 1 for 2 at the plate. Down in the dirt. Broken bat liner left field coming hard as Duncan can't get it. Then he slides and the ball goes by him. That's going to allow 2 runs to score. And into second base is Diaz, and it's a 1-run game.
Huge mistake there by Duncan. You cannot let that ball get by you. You have to keep it in front of you. You have the lead in the ball game. The object is to keep him from, okay, if he goes to second base, fine. They're going to score 1 run on the chink hit. Right here, they're going to get down in front of him. All right, give him the base hit. Don't give him the double and let the other run score from third because there's 2 outs. Huge mistake right there as both walks come in to score.
And now the tying run into scoring position with 2 down for Omar Vizquel, who will turn around about right-handed for the first time tonight. 2 for 2 with a single and a double. Zach McAllister charged with 2 runs tonight in 5 1/3 innings. He cannot lose it. Bounced to third. Hanahan throws him out. That'll end the inning. But the White Sox get a pair here in the 6th. They cut the gap to a single run. 4-3 Cleveland. Field where the Indians' lead is down to a run at 4-3. For the Indians, bottom third of the order due up here. Matt Laporta, Jack Hanahan, and Luis Valbuena. Josh Kinney, who got the last out in the 5th inning, will stay on to work the 6th now for Chicago. Laporta, an RBI double in that 4th inning. And a swing and a miss. Got a little piece of it. For a team that's had trouble scoring runs all season long, the Indians have played in a lot of high-scoring games of late. Since the month of September began, the Indians' games, in terms of total runs, averaging more than 11 runs per ball game. Only the Red Sox have had more runs per game in their contest than the Indians in the month of September. And we're headed for another one.
Well, I don't like that because the Red Sox were having a bad September run-wise. And the Indians got off to a bad start, too.
Low and outside, 2-2. Left-hander Matt Thornton getting loose for Chicago, and he's been tough on the Tribe this year. Laporta yanks it foul.
Well, he made that mistake. You're keeping that breaking ball on the inner part of the plate. You got to keep it away if you're going to throw it. Bury it down and away. He left this one up. He's lucky he didn't hit it for a double. Look at that's a hanger.
Had to reach for it, and a little tapper back to the mound. One away in the 6th. Sunday Strategy presented by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care returns Thursday night at 6. Andre Knott, Doug Deacon, and Tony Grossi will get you ready for the Browns home game against the Miami Dolphins. It's Sunday Strategy Thursday night at 6 right here on STO. Jack Hanahan showing bunt, takes a breaking ball for a strike. Swung on and missed, and it's quickly 0-2. You know, we were talking about Dave Kingman earlier, the answer to our trivia question tonight. He played with a lot of different teams. We were trying to remember who all he played with. We missed a couple of teams. Most of his career was with the Mets, 2 different stints. He spent 6 years total with the Mets. He also spent 4 years with the Giants, 3 years with Oakland, 3 years with the Cubs, and then 1 year each with the Padres, the Angels, and the Yankees.
Didn't miss a West Coast team, did he?
I don't remember the Padres or the Yankees, but I do remember the Angels.
I think I remember there was that trivia question where he played with every team out on the West Coast, both American and National League. And well,
California.
Yeah, and you're right. Redbird just came up to me. He played on all 4 teams out on the West Coast in the same year.
In the same year.
And the same year.
That's a feat.
A team in, what was it, each division
Padres,
or something.
Angels, A's, and Giants.
Yeah. There was in each division. There was a trivia question about him doing something like that.
I know that he's the envy of most of the players out there because when he was in San Francisco, I think it was San Francisco. I know with Oakland, he lived on a boat.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Hanahan strikes out, 2 down. And then Josh Kinney has retired all 3 that he's faced since coming into the game with the bases loaded and 2 down in that 5th inning.
Leave it to Redbird. 1977, he says he played with the Mets, the Padres, the Angels, and the Yankees in the same year.
Line drive base hit in the left field for Luis Valbuena. That keeps the inning alive.
So he crossed the country four different times.
Right.
Huh?
Both New York teams and a San Diego and an LA team. A little sinker out over the plate. Valbuena stayed on nicely. Takes it the other way. 8 hits now for the Tribe. We got a leadoff hitter. Valbuena, not much of a base stealer. You would think go ahead and put him in motion, but he is not a base stealer.
Ezekiel Carrera drag bunt single his last time up. 1 for 3 on the night. I think they were just stalling. Ozzie Guillen was waiting for somebody to get ready in the bullpen.
Yeah, Big Thornton's ready. Matt Thornton.
Big Matt. Big arm.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Easy 95 will be coming into the ball game when we come back. Tribe on top 4-3 here in the 6th. Time now for our Miller Taste Greatness moment. On this date in 2000, Omar Vizquel, Real Cormier on the mound. Look out, here he comes. He steals home uncontested with the left-hander on the mound. He never saw him coming.
Took it to me at home plate. He said, I better get out of there. There you go. That's a thing of beauty right there. That might be the best, stealing home.
Matt Thornton on for the 58th time this year. A win, 5 losses, 3.67 ERA, 57 strikeouts, and 54 innings of work.
No, you just have to make sure he gets his fastball down. He's got, like you say, an easy 95. But you got to get it down from the letters if you want to try and get a base hit off.
And Matt Thornton is another in a long line of examples of guys with great arms that you just maybe have to show a little patience with. You talked about, Mike, you had him in Seattle as a very young player, and he had control issues.
Well, he couldn't throw a strike. Fastball, a little slider. Kept trying to develop that slider and throw. He was. It wasn't just that he didn't throw strikes. He was so all over the place that you couldn't bring him into a tight ball game.
Oh, yeah.
And great guy. I mean, a great guy. He worked hard. He still works hard. And it's good to see a guy like this succeed. You know, he's found his control. He commands his pitches. I don't think he throws many breaking balls now. Maybe one occasionally. But he's got magic in his arm. He's 94 or 95 to 97, and left-handed. That's a tough combination to beat.
Well, you're right. He's done a nice job for the White Sox in the last few years as far as that setup role goes. Good
Runner
job.
goes. Swing and a miss. Throw down. Not in time. Valbuena gets to steal his first. And a runner in scoring position with 2 out.
Well, Manny sent him on first movement, which you like. He threw to first base the time before, and he says, go. Now you just go on first movement. Carrera swings at the high fastball, and Valbuena able to get the hand in there. Now he's in scoring position.
It's good to see.
Yes, it is.
A little tapper foul.
And you get a gut. I mean, with a over there. I mean, if he throws to first base, you're off, right? But
that's a real gut feeling on that. As far as you do have a sign, either with the base runner or one of the coaches. I had it with the first base coach. Go first move sign. I mean, after he throws over, you're just gambling that he's only going to go with that one time.
Popped him straight up in front of the plate. Flowers looking for some help. He's not going to get it. He makes the catch. And the inning is over. 6 complete. Indians clinging to a 4-3 lead.
Seventh inning right now. Can't believe it. Sunday will be the final home regular season game here at Progressive Field. First pitch 105 against the Twins. Get on out here. We've got KeyBank Kids Fun Day going on. It's also Fan Appreciation Day. The first 7,000 kids will receive a drawstring backpack courtesy of Joann Fabrics and EK Success Brands. Also, lucky fans will win some autographed Tribe memorabilia, and afterwards everyone can run the bases. If you don't have your tickets already, get them now, right now at Indians.com. Matt, Rick, Mike, back up to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Katie. We are going now to the 7th inning with the Indians on top 4-3. And the Tribe goes back to their bullpen. Zach Putnam on for the 4th time this year.
Well, this will be a good inning for Putnam. It's a little pressure there. They have a 1-run lead. coming in. See if you can get it to the back end of that bullpen for the Indians. He's got 8, 9, and 1. The hitters scheduled for him.
You know, a lot of times pitchers like this can be really ignored in the grand scheme of things, but they're really important to bridge. You know, they're called bridge pitchers, to be able to bridge it, to get to Pastano and to Perez, and to get you to the back end of your bullpen, who's proven to be
pretty slam dunk.
And these guys are vitally important, and a lot of times they get overlooked.
Well, it was like in the first game. It was Smith. Joe Smith came in, gave us that 7th inning. Now, that 7th inning is very important. You know, like you say, you want to get to Pastano, you want to get to Perez. Well, this is a test for the kid. High leverage situation.
Base hit in the right field for Tyler Flowers. Well, guys, after 50 years in Major League and professional baseball, Mike Hegan, our friend and colleague, has decided that he's going to retire from the broadcast booth. After this season, he will stay with the Indians organization as an ambassador, and he'll be making appearances on behalf of the ball club. But we certainly want to wish Mike and his wife Nancy the best, the very best in his retirement, and well-deserved. And he's had a tremendous career, not only as an Indians broadcaster, but before that with Milwaukee.
Right.
And then his playing career, which started with the New York Yankees, and he told us before the game today, started in 1961.
Right. The Yankees, he was over in the world champion Oakland A's. And as a matter of fact, played against Mike when he was with Milwaukee. And then he was doing the television when I got traded over there to play with him. Mm-hmm. And then came over here. Mike did in '89 to work with Channel 43 and Jack Corrigan for a number of years. And so, I mean, he's been a baseball man. His dad played here. He grew up here in Cleveland. So he certainly will be missed.
He's a good man.
Yes,
he's a good man. That's.
We talk about some good baseball stories, and he's played with some great players, the Mickey Mantle, and a lot of guys. So.
Oh, I had a great time working with him for 7 years on radio, and you're right. Spent a lot of time listening to those stories about his time in the Yankees organization, and then later with Milwaukee, because you guys were a lot of fun to follow as a broadcaster for him.
Well, yeah, he's...
And, of course, his good friend Bob Uecker was with him in Milwaukee,
he's
too.
He's a cheesehead at heart. Yeah. He's a cheesehead, no doubt. He should have that wedge of cheese right on top of that dome right now.
He does.
Yes, he does. Well, he will be missed, but I'll tell you what. He paid his dues in 50 years of baseball. Good for him. Let him retire and enjoy life.
The 1-2 pitch. Line to left center. Look out. This is trouble. Sizemore trying to cut it off. He will. Into third is Flowers. He'll get held there, but into second with a double is Gordon Beckham.
His third double today in game number 2. He's hit 3 of them. He had the RBI double. Now he's got this inning set up for the White Sox, and this ball looked like it was upstairs. You see where he's sitting? Oh, yes. A 93-mile-an-hour fastball up out over the plate. The young man didn't miss it. So he has 22 doubles on the season now.
Also, the Indians making changes in the outfield between innings. Ezekiel Carrera has gone from right to left, and Fukudome has gone into the game now in right field. So Shelley Duncan's night is over. And a foul at the plate by Pierre. And that was not a squeeze play, as Flowers was not bolting down the line. Indians lead by a run, but that lead in jeopardy now. Big chopper. This will get the tying run home. As Valbuena throws out Pierre.
Yeah, not only does he get the run home, but he gets the runner from second to third. So that's a big bonus, pulling the ball to the right side on the ground. Very productive out. now they'll bring the infield in and try and cut this run off at home.
And Alexei Ramirez takes a strike. He is 0 for 2. Walked and scored his last time up. Popped back out of play. Rip foul into the photo bay.
Get on. That's the ugly finder there. Almost got Iggy right in the forehead. Look out. You got that haircut just right, baby. Don't let him mess it up, Ig. I mean, oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Notice how he's got the headset. He's got the flip back so it doesn't mess up the hair.
I'm jealous. He's got some new moose down there.
Off the end of the bat, bloop to center. The White Sox take the lead. So Zach Putnam comes on, gives up back-to-back hits to start the inning, and they both come around to score. And Alexei Ramirez with his 67th RBI on the year.
Well, here's a guy that now down with 2 strikes. He's just trying to put that ball in play and get the runner home with the infield in. I mean, that helps you. That makes you a better hitter, but he put it in play, gets the run home. White Sox lead it 5-4.
Well, meeting in the mound. Paul Konerko coming to the plate. Got some activity in the Tribe pen. It's left-hander Nick Hagedorn who's up warming. Zach Putnam will have to deal with Paul Konerko first and foremost here.
Well, he's on. You have Dunn on deck, so this will be the last hitter for Putnam. Either way you look at it, I would think. Ouch.
Well, it's been a disastrous inning for Putnam.
Well, he'll be gone now. That's the last thing you're thinking of, huh? You go up to hit in that situation. He's just upset he was hit. He's not upset at Putnam. It's just that he wanted to hit.
Well, that's going to force Manny Acta to go back to that bullpen. And the left-hander, Nick Hagedorn, is coming in with 2 on and 1 out. And the Tribe now trailing it 5-4. 1 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, 2 more here in the 7th, and they're threatening with 2 on and 1 out. And left-hander Nick Hagedorn coming on for the 7th time this year. He'll be facing the left-handed hitting Adam Dunn.
Well, another situation for a young pitcher. First and second, still just 1 out. Trying to keep this a 1-run game now. They had a lead going into this inning. Now the young left-hander is going to try and keep it a 5-4 game.
Adam Dunn 0 for 2 with a walk. And that pitch took off. Ball 1 up high. Up high again. 2 balls, no strikes. Well, Mike, you referenced this earlier. When you have young pitchers, young relief pitchers, especially when they're power arm guys like a Matt Thornton that you were talking about when you were in Seattle, Nick Hagedorn similar here in Cleveland, when they're searching for their command, learning how to pitch in the big leagues, all the things that are swirling around them as young pitchers, it's tough to find the right opportunities to use them. I mean, this is, the pressure spot for Hagedorn. This is not a clean inning, and all of a sudden you're asking him to come in and throw strikes right away.
Well, you're right. I don't know what to say to that, Matt, but you're right. It is hard to find the right spots for him. But
Mike,
it can be done.
You can't always baby them though. Sometimes you got to throw them in the fire.
Sure, that's exactly right. I mean, you got to see how they respond to situations, and you know what? We're finding out. This is a situation where young Putnam came into this inning and gave up a lead. Now here, Hagedorn's trying to hold it, and his problem has been throwing strikes to begin with since he's been called up.
He finds the strike zone for Viciedo, who is 0 for 3 on the night. Pop back out of play.
There are times that you have to do what you have to do, and it's a tough spot. You've got to find out about these kids,
right?
And you put them into situations, whether they're pressure situations or not pressure situations. You got to find out how they're going to react, so you can start trying to make your evaluations.
I imagine it's a difficult spot for any manager, any organization. You're trying to balance, still trying to win games, with trying to find out what you have going forward.
If I'm trying to win this game tonight and I'm Manny and we're playing the White Sox, I'd go with the 3 relievers he went with in Game 1. That would be me. Trying to win because you're playing for second place. Now, he says we're trying to win second place. Why not go with Smith and go with Pistano and then go with Perez for your last 9 outs? You can see what these guys can do after that. But, I mean, you're playing the team that you want to beat.
The 2-2. Fouled back out of play. Well, remember, those guys combined for 3 innings in the first game. They threw 29 pitches combined, the 3 of them.
22 strikes. Bingo. That's what I'm talking about. They're fresh. They didn't labor through that first game. That's what I was looking for. And, I mean, we haven't seen one of them get up in this game.
Now the 2-2. Bounced in the hole. Donald goes to second. They get 1 there. Valbuena turns 2. Double play gets him out of the inning. So Hagedorn gets out of trouble, but the White Sox get a pair, and they now have a 5-4 lead. Time for the Cleveland Clinic 7th inning stretch. Indians fans, get up. Let's move it.
Furniture, home of Sealy's Posturepedic mattress, made in Northeast Ohio. And by your Northern Ohio Hyundai dealers. It's time to join the Hyundai movement.
All right, we go now to the bottom of the 7th. It's going to be Jason Donald, Carlos Santana, and Jim Thome for the Tribe. Donald takes a strike from Matt Thornton. He is 3 for 3, 3 singles and a run scored. Fouled back. 0-2. Remember, last time up he was, well, not last time, but back in the 4th inning, he was down 1-2 in the count, and then lined the single to right field, and that sparked the 4-run rally. Seven hits in his last 8 at bats. Chopped up the middle. The shortstop Ramirez on a big hop, able to field it and throw him out.
Well, that ball jumped up. I mean, it hit maybe a spike mark out in the dirt that really jumped up. Ramirez was ready for it.
Going to bring up Carlos Santana, who has walked, singled, scored a run. But boy, you look back in that 5th inning, he hit into that double play when it looked like the Indians were ready to maybe take command of the game. They were up 4-1 at the time. They had 2 on and nobody out. And now a broken bat liner to first, 2 quick outs.
Our great clip of the game, 1995 World Series, Jim Thome. Oh my. That ball was absolutely tattooed, and Jimmy never flipped the bat like that very often. But that ball was hit so far.
Jimmy tried to downplay that like he wasn't flipping that over toward the Atlanta dugout, but believe me, he did that. You know, I thought it was great, to tell you the truth. It was almost like he was challenging him.
So many great moments in his career while wearing an Indians uniform, and that was one of them. And a strike called. 1-2 the count. Lays off. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 down, bases empty. Here in the bottom of the 7th inning, Tribe down a run, 5-4. Low, full count.
It's like Matt threw in that little obligatory breaking ball. Now he goes back to his fastball.
Yeah, he's just going to say, you're coming, you're going to get number 1 from him.
And it's low, ball 4. Thome has walked twice tonight. Probably get a pinch runner here. We'll wait and see. Well, maybe not.
Oh, yeah, you will.
Yep, here he comes. Cord Phelps. A run for Thome here in the 7th. Kosuke Fukudome will get his first at bat of the night. And that's fouled away. Big bouncer foul, first base side. Mike, is there a single Jim Thome highlight or thought that comes to your mind when you think of his career as an Indian?
Yeah, no, Matt, because there were so many of them. I mean, it's just there were so many.
And I think for you as a manager, you know him more as you get to know him more on the personal level and the type of guy he is, and fans who watch the games, they focus on the highlights and those types of things. But you get a whole different perspective on all these players.
Yeah, I can't remember what year we were in the playoffs. I want to say it was '96, maybe it was '96. Jimmy had broken the hamate bone in his hand, and we were trying to keep that a secret. And he had done it in the playoffs, so we had numbed the hand, and we were supposed to do it again around the 5th or 6th inning because it would wear off. I'll finish it later.
We'll finish the story. That's a cliffhanger. We'll bring it back. The conclusion coming up next.
Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Jim Thome and Omar Vizquel squaring off here tonight. Two former teammates both had a hand in tonight's ball game. But right now, it's the White Sox who lead it 5-4. Omar has gone 2 for 3 with a single and a double tonight. Jim Thome now out of the ball game. Had an RBI single and scored a run in the 4th inning. He's also drawn a couple of walks, but again lifted for a pinch runner in the 7th. So here in the 8th inning, Alejandro Diaza leading off. Nick Hagedorn delivers, and it's ball 2. When we last left you, I had asked Mike Hargrove about a single memory, perhaps, of Jim Thome or a thought that came to mind. You were starting to tell us a story. 1996 postseason, he breaks the hamate bone, but he's trying to play through it against Baltimore in the playoffs.
Right, and we had the way he was getting by, it was the next day in the game we numbed it up. And I talked to the medical team before the game. We were trying to keep it a secret. We didn't want anybody to know that this was going on. And they said that we would need to redo that around the 5th or 6th inning because it would start to wear off.
Fly ball deep to left, and it's a foul ball.
So anyway, I talked to our medical team, and I said, "Now look, there's going to be a lot of things going on. So I can't stay on top of this. You guys have to stay on top of this. When it's time to do it, redo it." And they said, "Okay, we'll do that." Well, push came to shove, they missed their window, and so we got runners on. I think it was first and second, and nobody out, and Jimmy was on deck and was going to be the hitter, and he couldn't swing the bat. He couldn't at all. So I sent Casey Candell up and had him bunt. You remember that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember you caught a lot of
oh
flack
my
for
goodness
that.
gracious! Yeah, how can you pinch hit for Jim Thome? Well, I'm not a total idiot. It might be a little idiotic at times, but Jimmy couldn't swing the bat at all. So I sent him up there to bunt him over, and that was a memorable moment with Jimmy. Not one of my more favorite. There were a lot more favorite ones than that one, but it was one of those situations where my hand was forced, and so we did that, and gee, did I catch some heat for that.
But see, to me, that's what I love about the question, is the answer is not obvious. The answer is not, I'll never forget that 450-foot home run he hit. The answer is something totally unexpected. Pinch hitting Casey Candell for Jim Thome, not something I would have thought that you would have come up with.
Maybe it's because I lost about 10 pounds off my butt from doing that.
Getting it chewed out.
Yeah, getting it chewed on by everybody. But that's why with Manny bringing in Putnam for the start the seventh and going with Hagedorn. There a lot of stuff goes on down there. That nobody knows about.
Right.
I'm not saying that's what happened in this case. I'm not. But there are a lot of things that go on that
sure
that we're not informed of, and it makes you scratch your head. And sometimes there's a logical reason. Sometimes there's not. But sometimes there is.
2 down as Nick Hagedorn has struck out the first 2 here in the 8th inning. Were there times, and I'm not asking you to cite a specific example, but were there times where you felt like you had to take a bullet for a player?
Oh, a number of times.
And just kind of come out and say, well, it was my decision, knowing full well that, that's not really what happened, but I can't tell you guys what happened.
Yes. Yeah, there's a number of times that
probably
happened.
Goes on every day.
Oh, yeah. And I always, I told my players, I will not manage to the papers. I'm not going to blast you in the papers. I'm not going to blast you in press conferences. If I have something to talk to you about, we'll do it in my office, and we'll take care of it there, and no holds barred. But usually what you tell your players, you need to go ahead and follow through on that.
Good inning for Hagedorn. White Sox go in order. We go to the bottom of the 8th, Tribe down a run. All right, we go now to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Chicago has gone for some defensive changes. Brett Morrell takes over at third base. Alex Rios has now come into the ball game in center field. And Diaza, who was in center, goes over to right field for Viciedo.
All right, so they're putting their best defense in now with a 1-run lead. And Thornton back out there, and it looks like he may be here for just one hitter, possibly. Grady Sizemore. Then you got Laporta.
Jesse Crane and or Chris Sale are warming in the Chicago bullpen. So you're right, Rick. He could go left, right, left, match it up the whole way if he wants to. And he might do that only because Thornton's now thrown 20 pitches. Otherwise, he might have just let him stay in for the whole inning.
Well, yeah, you could, but I mean, then you blow him out for tomorrow.
Exactly. Good pitch. That was at the knees for a strike, and it's 0-2. One ball, two strikes. Pretty good career numbers for Grady Sizemore. The 1-2. Missed inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I think Grady, if I remember right, did a lot of that damage though in one particular year where he just seemed to have Thornton's number. Not many people make a living wearing this left-hander out. Full count. Laporta is next. Drive trying to get that leadoff man aboard in a 1-run game. And it's fouled out of play. The Yankees lead Tampa 5-0. They're in the 7th. In the Bronx, Boston with a 5-4 lead over Baltimore. They have had a lot of trouble with the Orioles here of late.
Yes, they have. The Orioles have been spoiling a lot of different teams.
Angels hammering Toronto 10-5. They're in the 8th. 3-2 pitch. Low ball 4. So they do get the leadoff man aboard. Down a run here in the 8th inning, and Ozzie will make the move as we suspected. He'll go to Jesse Crane here to match up for one batter against Matt Laporta. So Thornton will leave. He's walked 2 on the night. Well, that's the leadoff man aboard here now in the 8th inning. A timeout. Tribe down 5-4. Northern Ohio Hyundai dealers introducing the Hyundai Assurance Trade-In Value Guarantee. Well, Jason Donald with 3 hits on the night. Jim Thome had an RBI single. Matt Laporta an RBI double. And he's coming up here with the tying run at first base. And he'll be facing right-hander Jesse Crane of Chicago. We were talking during the break. You know, this is that whole matchup. You go righty-righty, you go lefty-lefty. This is probably a better matchup in terms of Matt Laporta because he's had more trouble against left-handed pitching this year than he has against righties. Matt came in on the year hitting .202 against lefties and .251 against right-handers.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, and Matt can hit a fastball, and Jesse Crane has a good fastball. He's got a very good slider. And hopefully he can't control that slider because that'll be his out pitch to Laporta. So if Matt can get his first fastball off this guy and stay in the middle of the field on it, I like his chances. Starts him off with a nasty slider. Whew. That's the one you don't want.
Sometimes things aren't fair.
Yeah, I know. That's the one you don't want. You can see he's 3 for 8 against Crane in his career, so that's a good matchup, but Ozzie, you know, you just go with what you got sometimes.
Fouled back out of play. There was the fastball. A nice grab by the fan there.
Well, that'll make you foul off. That first slider will make you foul off that fastball because it'll keep you honest. And he threw it for a strike. That's the thing. Now you got a battle up here, boy. And the one thing you want to do, you don't want to just mess around and just slap and put in play. Swing hard and hit a double if you can. If you can't strike out, don't hit into a double play. Oh, that's close.
Real close, wasn't it?
I mean, you don't step to first base. That was a spin move. Watch his feet. I mean, he didn't. Well, he did just step a little bit.
Laporta stays alive with a foul of the slider. Jesse Crane ready with the 0-2. And that's a little bit too high.
I don't know if he's setting up that slider away, but
yeah, I'll tell you, changing the eye level.
He's going to come back with his fastball up. And that's real close to being a balk move.
Yeah, it looks like it. It really does. You know, and sometimes, though, when they give that sign, the catchers, to first base to throw over there, they will give you either an inside target in case that hitter looks back when they throw to first and where the target might be. I still say they want to get Laporta out with the slider.
There's that fastball up around his eyeballs, and it's 2-2. These situations always remind me of that scene in Field of Dreams where the ghost of shoeless Joe Jackson tells him, if I were you, I'd look for low and away here. But be ready for in your ear.
Yeah.
Check this swing. He went too far, says first base umpire Bill Welke. But I don't know. Ozzie Guillen is going to make another pitching change here, so it was a one-at-bat deal for Jesse Crane. And it was a... Well,
that's not a swing. I'm sorry, but that's just, that's just not a swing.
Close. One out now here in the bottom of the 8th. And left-hander Chris Sale is coming into the game. I want to tell you about the Gathering Place, which supports, educates, and empowers individuals and families who've been touched by cancer. We've raised over $8,800 so far this year because every time the Indians homer, Rick and I are donating $5 each to the Gathering Place, and Great Clips is donating $50 per homer. In Game 1 of our doubleheader, the Indians hit 3 bombs. Travis Hafner, Asdrubal Cabrera, Kosuke Fukudome all went deep. You can log on to touchedbycancer.org to learn more about the Gathering Place. Great needs, great deeds, Great Clips. Lefty Chris Sale to face Jack Hanahan. Jack Hanahan on the year, a .298 batting average against lefties. He's hit just .222 coming in against righties, and he was 0 for 2 against the right-hander. Now the set and the pitch, and a called strike on the outside corner. Line to deep left. Back goes Pierre, and he'll make the catch on the warning track, and Grady Sizemore retreats to first base. Well, Hanahan gave it a ride, but Pierre able to track it down. And we're going to get Jason Kipnis, who will pinch hit for Luis Valbuena. Valbuena was 1 for 3 tonight. Kipnis was 2 for 4 this afternoon with a single, a double, and a run scored. Sale gets ahead with a breaking ball for strike 1. Kipnis has had more success against right-handers, but he's held his own against lefties. Going 8 for 30. Outside, 1-1. Mike, the thing that's stood out for me, I mentioned the other day when we were in Texas with Kipnis, he's the kind of hitter who will pitch it wherever he'll hit it wherever the ball is pitched. You know, you throw him away, he'll hit it the other way and hit it hard.
Well, he's got real good fundamentals at the plate. He stays in on the plate, stays in on the pitch, and uses his hands real well. And those kind of hitters are hard to get out.
And as Rick pointed out, he also has a very good eye at the plate, so he's got a pretty good idea of what he's doing.
Well, there you go. Hits by direction. Pretty evenly spread out. Left, center, and right. And he can turn on it and hit with power if need be.
Low, 3 balls and a strike.
Hitters count. I love his patience. I like his plate discipline.
You know, the thing about he allows himself a chance to be successful. You know, he doesn't force the issue. He allows the chance to come to him.
Right.
And then he's ready for it. And the chance is right here.
Takes a fastball there, full count.
Well, he may be figuring too now. If he's going to throw me a 3-1 fastball, then he'll throw it 3-2 and look for it here. We'll see if Sale comes back with the breaking ball. Fastball again. He's going to get it, so be ready for it. He just had a good look at the last one.
Topped it foul. That 3-2 is fouled up the first baseline.
He gave him the slider, and he was able to get a piece of it. Good.
And this will be an 8-pitch at bat at least for Kipnis. Looks like another slider coming. And he popped him up. Shallow center. Ramirez out. And he makes the catch. The shortstop hangs on, and the inning is over. The Indians get their leadoff man aboard, but can't do anything with it. And the Tribe going back to their bullpen once again. Josh Judy coming on to work this ninth inning. Nick Hagedon worked an inning and 2/3. Scoreless baseball. A couple of strikeouts. Jason Kipnis stays in the ball game at second base. For the White Sox, Gordon Beckham, Juan Pierre, and Alexei Ramirez. A career night for Gordon Beckham as he has gone 3 for 3 with 3 doubles. The last White Sox hitter with 3 doubles in a ball game. You have to go all the way back to 2005 when Aaron Rowan did it. And here the White Sox won it all. And a strike.
We need a 1-2-3 inning here.
Yes, you do. Absolutely. Last inning, Hagedon made it quickly. Two punch outs and a fly out to right.
And that breaking ball misses up high, 2-1. Three balls and a strike here for Gordon Beckham. Juan Pierre waiting on deck, and then Alexei Ramirez. Oh, Beckham just got drilled, and that's the third White Sox hitter hit today.
That one wasn't even close. 3-1 count. I mean, it just got away. As a hitter, you're certainly not looking for that. I mean, when you're 3-1. Next thing you know, was that the middle of the back?
I think it did.
I mean, to tell you, this is right in the back of the numbers. Kidney shot. Ouch.
Wow,
right at the 1. That's .15 right now. That hurt. I mean, that's right in the kidneys. That's the last place you're looking for a pitch as a hitter right there.
Yeah, I can't say I ever went up there thinking I'm looking for this in my kidney.
On a 3-1 pitch.
Yeah.
I'm going to look down and away for that good fastball as you're diving out. Oh, goodness. Look, they can joke about it over there now.
He finally caught his breath.
Yeah, he can breathe.
Juan Pierre, 1 for 4 on the night. He bunts it. Judy barehands it and throws him out at first. The sacrifice moves Gordon Beckham into scoring position. Stick around after the ballgame tonight for the Conrads Tire Express and Total Car Care post-game show. We'll have the highlights. Also look forward to Game 3 in this series, which comes your way tomorrow night right here on Sports Time Ohio. Conrad's, home of the lowest everyday tire price guarantee. Alexei Ramirez drove in the go-ahead run in the 7th inning. A little bloop single to center field put Chicago ahead 5-4. Ramirez 1 hit this afternoon and 1 hit in the nightcap so far. Breaking ball in for a strike, and it's 0-2 the count on Ramirez. Frank Herman and Tony Sipp are both up in the Indians bullpen at the moment. Low and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Oh my! Ramirez hit for the 2nd time tonight. And he is glaring out at Josh Judy.
Well, these guys are getting plunked.
He's not doing it on purpose, but at some point, that doesn't matter.
No, I'll tell you what. I don't care as a hitter. That's the 3rd hitter hit tonight by Indians pitching. Sooner or later, yeah, you start thinking about it. I mean, this one, he's down in the count after he threw that fastball, a good pitch down and away, 0-2. This one comes up and gets him right in the shoulder, and he was lucky to get out of the way. Look at this. Ouch. He's lucky he didn't get hit in the face.
I thought he got hit in the face.
I know it. That's awfully close right there. He couldn't get out of the way.
Well, you've got to be wondering what's going through Paul Konerko's mind right now.
Oh, well, he got hit earlier, so it can't be that, can it? I mean, two guys.
He's figured the shoulder's been taken care of, the kidney's been taken care of.
My goodness. I he'll probably take this first pitch. I think that's safe to say.
Yeah, I think there's a chance.
So Paul Konerko digs in, albeit gently, and looks at a ball way outside, 1-0. Judy fires, and Konerko is swinging a miss. It's 1-1. "12 pitches so far for Josh Judy, more balls than strikes. And he's in the soup right here with only one out. Almost to the backstop. Good stab by Santana. And it's 2-1. Double play ball to short. Donald to Kipnis. On to Laporta. And that'll end the inning. So the double play gets Josh Judy out of trouble. Some hurt feelings in the inning, but the Indians will go to the bottom of the ninth down a run. Chris Sale has come on for the ninth inning, and nobody warming in the White Sox bullpen, so it just might be Chris Sale or bust for Chicago. He got the last two outs to end the eighth inning, and he's got the switch hitter Trevor Crow pinch hitting here in the ninth for the Indians. He'll pinch hit for Ezekiel Carrera. And then you got Jason Donald, right-handed hitter, in the on-deck circle. Sale got Hanahan to fly to deep left, and then Kipnis to pop up. Kipnis a pinch hitter to end that eighth inning. Now here in the ninth, Tribe down a run. And it's a called strike at 96 miles an hour. Down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's down on the dirt. 2-1. Trevor Crow played this afternoon, was 1 for 3 with a single. And taps that foul to even the count at 2-2. Indians led this game 4-0. After they scored 4 times in the 4th inning, when the first 4 all came to the plate and reached and all came around to score. But the White Sox got a run in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th to take the lead as Crowe strikes out to start the bottom of the 9th inning. 1 away. Jason Donald, in his first 3 trips to the plate, had 3 base hits, 1 right up the middle. On a 1-2 pitch, he singled to right field in the 4th, and that started that 4-run rally. And then a base hit in the left field in the 5th. He's 3 for 4 here tonight. And Sale goes right at him there with an off-speed pitch for a strike. Right back up the middle, it's through, and the tying run is aboard here in the bottom of the 9th inning. And Carlos Santana coming to the plate.
Well, right back up the middle, and Jason swung the bat very well. That's 4 hits in the second game tonight, right back up the middle. That's exactly what you needed. You needed that tying run to get on base, get him out of the stretch.
Carlos Santana has singled, walked, and scored a run. Santana's second at bat from the right side of the plate here tonight. His first time up was in the 7th inning against Matt Thornton, and he had a weak little broken bat liner to first. High pop, foul, back out of play. For the year, Santana, his batting average is over 100 points higher from the right side of the plate. But only 5 of his 26 homers have come from the right side, as you see Travis Hafner in the on-deck circle to pinch hit. Up and in, it's 1-2.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they want to give Carlos any swinging room. They're going to make him work to get the barrel head of that bat out there. You can see he does not have a hit against Sale. It's only 3 at-bats in his career, but they're going to try and tie him up.
And a double play ball to short. 6-4-3 ends the ball game. So the White Sox hang on and win it by a final score of 5-4 to split the day-night doubleheader. And with that win, the White Sox are 75-79. The Indians fall back a game below 500 at 76-77. So a long day of baseball comes to an end tonight here at Progressive Field, with Chicago securing the win. And to hang on here in the 9th inning, but they get the double play ball off the bat of Santana, and they get it done. So it's time now for our play of the game.